worried, we'll tell you. But we've got good enough ventilation that we don't need to wear masks or shouldn't need to wear masks. So don't worry about wearing your mask during the service. But we do ask that if you move around, and in particular when you're having face-to-face contact with other people who are not from your household, that you do wear your masks, because we know that's the best way that we can protect one another. Also joining us this morning are those who are with us online. So if you are in the body of the shul, you'll be able to look into this camera up here, and you'll be able to, they'll be able to see you. So if you want to just look up here and wave, that'd be lovely, great. And they'll wave back. See how that works? That's brilliant. It is an amazing thing to be able to be a community all together. The screens will show you people who are joining us from home. One of the things I would want to say to you is we want to watch one another and be part of prayer rather than watching the screens. Just try to pretend they're not there. But it is lovely that you are here with us online. We are going to begin together by singing together through our Shacharit service, starting on page 160.
ואני ברוב חסדך ובביתך, אשתחווה אל היכל קודשך ביראתך. אדוני אהבתי מעום ביתך, ומקום משכן כבודך. ואני אשתחווה ואכרע, אברכה לפני אדוני עושי. ואני תפילתי לך, אדוני עת רצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת ישעך.
We continue by waking ourselves up together, getting prepared to come together as a community of prayer. So we turn to page 164 for our Birchot HaShachar, our morning blessings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shelo hasani nochri.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shelo hasani shivcha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa li kol tzorki.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokei achivrim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam marbi sharumim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokev kefufim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaber.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozei Yisrael bigvorah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifarah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam anoten layayev koach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir sheina me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
L'olam yehei adam yirei shamayim b'seitek v'galui umodeh al ha'emet v'dover emet bilvavo.
we should always Be in awe of God in private as well as in public. Speak the truth aloud and mean it in our hearts. Having woken up, liturgically at least, the first thing that we do as Jews is an act of study. So for our study passage for this morning, we're going to turn together to page 558. And Judd is going to come up and read for us a passage in the middle of that page from Rabbi Charles Middleborough. And we've chosen for this morning a piece which relates to our relationship with the environment, recognizing that this is nominated nationally as Eco Shabbat to reflect the COP26 meetings going on as we speak. So we're going to say the blessing for study together before Judd reads our passage. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Again, this is a lovely passage from Charles H. Middleborough. We should contemplate the natural world, not as disconnected observers, but as active participants. We are part of nature, but unlike the rest of the animal kingdom, we alone have the ability to save it or to do it irreparable damage. Animals and birds, reptiles and fish, and myriads of insects offer us opportunities for wonder, amusement, inspiration, and the purest joy. Those who share creation with us should be counted as precious to us as ourselves. For without their presence, our own existence would be immeasurably the poorer. So let us treasure nature, the inspiration of so much dignity, beauty, and poetry. And let us honor and cherish the earth, which provides a home for us all.
And back on page 170, the blessing after study. Parevna Adonai Eloheinu, et divrei Toratcha b'finu, u'b'fi amcha Beit Yisrael, v'nehiyeh anachnu v'tzatza'enu, v'tzatza'ei amcha Beit Yisrael, kulanu yodei shemecha, v'lomdei Toratcha lishma. Baruch atah Adonai, hamlamed Torah, le'amor Yisrael. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed.
V'haya
Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, v'yom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Hoshienu Adonai Eloheinu, lehodot l'shem kodshecha, Lishtabech b'thilatecha, Baruch Adonai Elohei Yisrael, min ha'olam va'ad ha'olam, ve'amar kol ha'am amen. Hallelujah.
Kol
Neshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kol ha-neshama Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And having woken up liturgically, we turn to the next section of our service, the Psukei de Zimra. The rabbis of old would spend hours preparing themselves for prayer by singing together. And so in miniature, we reflect that in our prayer lives as well. We're on page 172. Baruch Shema V'haya Olam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Omer V'oseh, Baruch Ozeh U'Mekayem, Baruch Oseh V'Reishit, Baruch Merachem Al Haaretz, Baruch Merachem Al Habriot, Baruch Meshalem Sachar Tov L'Reav, Baruch Ma'avir Afela U'Mevi Orah, Baruch HaChalad V'Kayam LaNetzach,
ברוך שאין לפניו עוולה, ולא שכחה ולא משוא פנים, ולא מכך שוחד. צדיק הוא בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו. ברוך פודה ומציל, ברוך המנחיל מנוחה לעמו ישראל ביום שבת קודש. ברוך הוא וברוך שמו וברוך זכרו לעולמי עד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המלך הגדול והקדוש אף הרחמן, מהולל בפי עמו, משובח ומפואר בלשון כל חסידיו ועבדיו. ובשירי דוד עבדך נהלל לך אדוני אלוהינו, בשבחות ובזמירות נהודך נגדלך, נפארך ונמליכך, ונזכיר שמך מלכנו אלוהינו, יחיד כעולמים, משובח ומפואר שמו עד עד. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מהולל בתשבחות.
And having promised God that we're going to praise with songful psalms, that's what we're going to do. We're turning to page 180.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, 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 El Bakocho. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Bikia Uzo.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, 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 big Vorotav. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Karov, good Lord.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, 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 Bateka Shofar. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Benevel Vechino. Hallelujah, 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 Batov Umachol. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Beminim Va'ugav. Hallelujah, 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 Betzilzelei Shama. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Betzilzelei Truah. Kol haneshama hallelujah, kol haneshama hallelujah, kol haneshama hallelujah, hallelujah, kol haneshama hallelujah, hallelujah.
We turn together to page 199. Baruch Adonai Leolam.
Amen v'amen.
Baruch Adonai Elohim Elohei Yisrael. Osei niflaot levado. Uvaruch Shem kavodo leolam. Vayimale kavodo et kol haaretz.
Amen v'amen. Nishmat kol chai tevarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu v'ruach kol masa tevaheh u'tromem zichracha malkeinu tamid min
ומבלעדיך אין לנו מלך. גואל ומושיע, פודה ומציל, ועונה ומרחם.
בכל עת צרה וצוקה, אין לנו מלך עוזב וסומך זולתך. אלוהי הראשונים והאחרונים, אלוה כל בריות, אדון כל תולדות, המהולל בכל התשבחות, המנהג עולמו בחסד ובריאותיו ברחמים, ואדוני לא ינום ולא יישן, המעורה ישנים והמקיץ נדמים, מחיי מתים ורופא חולים, פוקח עיוורים וזוקף כפופים, לך לבדך אנחנו מודים.
And in the middle of page 203.
שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו, וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני, לישרים נאוה תהילה. בפי ישרים תתרומם, ובדברי צדיקים תתברך. ובלשון חסידים תתקדש, ובקרב קדושים תתעלה.
We rise together for Yishtabach on page 204.
ישתבח שמך ליד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש, בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו, ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. שיר ושבחה, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודאות, לשמך הגדול והקדוש. מעולם ועד עולם אתה אל, ברוך אתה אדוני, בורא כל הנשמות, ריבון כל המעשים, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלכי העולמים. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. מעמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בגאלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתעדה ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה ברכו להילה מן כל בחרתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דיאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן.
Continue by calling one another to prayer with the words of the Baruch Hu on page 206.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Please take your seats. Baruch
Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzeh or uvorei choshech, Osei shalom uvorei et hakol, Hakol yiducha v'hakol yishabachucha, V'hakol yomru ein kadosh kadonai, Hame'ir leolam kulo el yoshvav, Uv'tuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit, Ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai, Kulam b'chokhma asita, Mala ha'aretz kinyanecha, HaMelech HaMramam levado me'az, HaMeshubach v'hamufa'ah v'hamitnaseh mimot olam, Elohei olam, V'rachamecha harabim rachem aleinu, Adon uzeinu tzur miskabenu, Magen yishenu miskav ba'adenu, Or chadash al Tzion ta'ir, V'nizkechu lanu mehira le'oro, Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzeh ha'ma'orot.
Let's read together at the top of page 210.
With deep love you have loved us, and with great and overflowing tenderness you have taken pity on us. Source of our life and our sovereign, show us compassion because of your own greatness, and because of our ancestors who trusted in you. For you taught them rules to live by, to do your will with their whole heart. Let our eyes see the light of your teaching, and our hearts embrace your commands. Give us integrity to love you and fear you. So shall we never lose our self-respect, nor be put to shame. For you are the power which works to save us. You chose us from all peoples and tongues, and in love drew us near to your own greatness, to honor you, to declare your unity, and to love you. Blessed are you, God, who chooses your people Israel in love.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Va'ahavta
Et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, b'chol nafshecha, b'chol modecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh, asher anochi metzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'nibarta b'ham, b'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'b'lechtecha b'derech, u'b'shofpecha u'b'kumecha, u'shatam lehot al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot b'eineinecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'b'hisharecha.
We take a moment to read the second paragraph of the Shema to ourselves, joining together at the top of page 216. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, Daber el bnei Yisrael v'amata alehem,
v'asur lahem tzitzit, kanfei bigdeihem ledorotam, v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf b'tihil techelet, v'haya lachem letzitzit וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אמת ויציב וקיים ומקובל, וטוב הדבר הזה עלינו לעולם ועד. אמת אלוהי עולם מלכנו, צור יעקב מגן ישנו, לדור ודור הוא קיים, ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת. אמת שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, פודנו ומצילנו מעולם הוא שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך. עזרת אבותינו אתה הוא מעולם, מגן ומושיע להם ולבניהם אחריהם בכל דור ודור. אשרי איש שישמע למצוותיך, ותורתך ודברך ישים על ליבו. אמת, אתה הוא ראשון, ואתה הוא אחרון, ומבלעדיך אין לנו מלך, גואל ומושיע. ממצרים גאלתנו אדוני אלוהינו, ומבית עבדים פדיתנו. משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לך אנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם,
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, שירה חדשה, שמחו גאולים, לשמחה על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, גאלנו אדוני, צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל, גאל ישראל, ישראל.
We come to Hatfilah, the prayer, the Amidah in the heart of our service. We're on page 222. Adonai Sfatai Tifta, Adonai Sfatai Tifta, Ufi Agi Tehilatecha, Ufi Agi Tehilatecha, Baruch
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avotenu, v'Elohei emotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים, קונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, פוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופך עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממיץ ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקראת אל זאב ואמר,
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו.
לאומתם ברוך יאמרו,
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
ממקומך מלכנו, תופיע ותמלוך עלינו, כי מחכים אנחנו לך, ובדברי קודשך כתיב לאמור.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Moses rejoiced at the gift of his destiny, for you called him a faithful servant. You set a radiance about his head when he stood before you on Mount Sinai, bringing down in his hand the 2 tablets of stone on which is written the Shabbat command. And so it is written in your Torah.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל oti leolam, oti leolam, v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We are going to continue with our Amidah individually. When we come together, we will be just at the end of the first paragraph on page 234.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי וגואלי, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
The world in which we find ourselves presents us with all sorts of challenges and compromises that we need to make around how do we make life work in a way that is as safe but also as inclusive as possible. So as we turn to our Torah service on page 236, what we've learned over the last couple of years is that what's really important is our ability to be together, and whether or not we open the ark at exactly the right time or cover it in exactly the right space is actually right now of less importance, which is lucky because Hannah and I are going to be over on this side of the bima whilst the Hilton family and friends manage to take responsibility for all of the choreography in our service, our Torah service. So the important thing for you to know as you do this is what really matters is that we are here to hear Lila and Lucas read Torah and to celebrate with them and to be together, because this is the thing that we've missed these last 18, 20 months or so. In order to follow with us, you need to get your yellow sheet, which has got the Torah portions in it. And if you are joining us at home, then this supplement is available via the Elith website. If you go to today's service, you'll be able to find this, and it includes the portions that Lila and Lucas will be reading. So as we turn together to page 236, I'm going to invite Rochelle and Darren to join us on the bima to open the ark for us. And Jamie and Alex are also going to come up. Jamie is going to take the scroll for us, and Alex will undress it as we sing together as we begin our Torah service. En kamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'en kamasecha malchutecha malachut kol olamim umemshaltecha b'chol dovador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch leolam vahen Adonai oz le'amo yiten Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom Av harachamim heitiva v'tzonecha et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim ki v'cha levad batachnu melech melech el ram v'nisa melech melech el ram v'nisa Adon olamim Adon olamim Adon olamim Adon olamim. Vayhi bin Saharon vayomem Moshe Kuma Adonai v'yafutzu oivecha v'yanusu misanecha mipanecha.
Ki mitzion
Teitzei Torah Udvadonai Mirushalayim. He's going to take out
Teitzei Torah
Udvadonai Mirushalayim.
Ki mitzion
Teitzei Torah Udvadonai Mirushalayim. Ki mitzion Teitzei Torah Udvadonai Mirushalayim. Baruch Natan Torah le'amo Yisrael. Baruch Natan Torah le'amo Yisrael. B'kedushato ki mitzion Teitzei Torah Udvadonai Mirushalayim. Ki mitzion Teitzei Torah Udvadonai Mirushalayim. And if you want to just take your seats for a moment as we turn to page 239. Ein kadosh kadonai ki ein bultecha vein so keloheinu, ki mi Eloah mi balade Adonai, umi so zulati Eloheinu, Torah tivalanu Moshe, morasha ki hilat Yaakov, etz chaim hi lemachazikim ba, letomacheha musha, dracheha darchei noam, v'chol netivoteha shalom. I'm going to invite Richard and Kate to come up, and Ruben is also going to come to take on Hagbah for us. We need to just get the scroll onto the desk if we can. For those of you at home, the added complication is that the scroll, which is a family scroll, which we'll speak about in a moment, is incredibly heavy, which is why we're having to work out how to help Jamie to get it down. Shalom Rav lahavei toratecha ve'ein lama michshol. Adonai oz le'emo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Ki shem Adonai ekra, havu godel le'Eloheinu. Kol tenu oz le'Elohim, utenu chavod laTorah. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael. Torah tziva lanu Moshe, morasha kehilat Yaakov. Ha'el tamim darko, imrat Adonai tzerufa, magen hu lechol hachosim bo. Shakar. Please take your seats. Shakar. Do you want to just go to the other side? Just stand there, perfect. So I'm delighted that reading Torah for us this morning to mark reaching the age of mitzvot will be first Lila and then Lucas. We're going to be calling them both up as Darshanit and Darshan as to give us a drasha, and then also as Baalat and Baal Koreh, because they're going to read Torah for us as well. I suppose it's her birthright, but she'll talk about that Lila gets to go first. Tamod, Lila bat Reuben Shlomo v'Kela Rachel, bat mitzvah Darshanit uvalat Koreh, lidrosh v'lekor et haTorah.
My Torah portion is about Jacob and Esau, the twin sons of Rebekah and Isaac. Isaac prays to God on behalf of his wife that she will fall pregnant, and soon after, she does. She is pregnant with twins, which my mum will tell you is a lot to carry. When the twin boys arrive, they are very different. Esau, the firstborn, becomes a skillful hunter. Jacob, on the other hand, is a homebody, staying with his mother in the tents. One day, Esau comes back from a long hunt and is starving. Jacob is cooking stew. When Esau asks for some stew, Jacob says, "I'll give you some, but first, you must sell me your birthright." Esau cannot see the need for a birthright, so he agrees. Birthright is the idea that things are owed to someone because of their birth, or due to the order of their birth. Throughout history, the oldest, by birthright, has typically been the one to inherit the parents' estate, wealth, and titles. For example, within the British royal family, the Prince of Wales is the firstborn, and therefore is first in line to the throne. One way of thinking about the story of Jacob and Esau is that people should earn their position based on factors other than age. Is Jacob one of the patriarchs of Judaism simply because he gets his brother, in a moment of weakness, to give up his birthright? Or is there more to it than this? When they are still in the womb, God has already told Rebekah, 2 nations are in your womb, and the older will serve the younger. This story turns the idea of birthright upside down. I was the firstborn twin, however, I feel equal to Lucas in every way. And I'm pretty sure he feels equal to me, regardless of the fact that I'm 1 minute older. We both have our strengths and our weaknesses, but none of them really have anything to do with the order in which we are born. This portion makes me realize that every single one of us has our own birthright, regardless of where we are born in our family, and should have the opportunity to be ourselves and to be treated equally.
Shkach. Good. Just make sure we're in the right place. Okay. So I just need you to come towards me. Towards you. Shy. And then that way. Perfect. Right back again.
Baruch et Adonai Hamavora.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavora Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Ve'ele toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham. Avraham holid et Yitzchak. Vayehi Yitzchak ben 40 shana. Bukachto et Rivka bat Betuel ha'arami mi padan aram. Achot Lavan harami lo leisha. Ve'atar Yitzchak ladonai Lonoha ishto ki akara hi. Vayater lo Adonai Vatahar Rivka ishto. Vayitwotzetsu habanim bekirba. Vatomer imkein lama ze anochi. Vatala lidrosh et Adonai. Vayomer Adonai la shinei goyim bevitneh ushenei lumim mime'ayich yiparedu ul'am mil'am ye'ematz v'rav ya'avod sa'ir v'imlu yamecha laledet v'hinei tomim bevitneh. Vaytzei harishon adamoni kulo ka'aderet se'ar. V'yitzhak
Vikru.
vayikru shamo Esav. V'arechein yatsa achiv v'yado ochezet be'akev Esav. Vayikra shamo Yaakov v'Yitzchak ben 60
Shana v'ledet otam. Shkach. After, blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emes v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai
Noten HaTorah.
And I'm delighted to call John and Sandra to come and stand with Lila as she reads her second section of Torah to do our blessings for us. Yamdu, Yona David ben Tuvia v'Fega Leah, v'Chaya bat Yehuda v'Golda, l'Kriyat HaTorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bocha banu mikol ha'amim v'notan lanu et Torato. Baruch Adonai notein ha'Torah.
Amen.
Vayigdulu hana'arim, vayehi Esav, ish yodei tzayid, ish sadeh, v'Yaakov ish tam, yashev ochalim, vaye'echav Yitzchak et Esav, ki tzayid b'fiv, Varivka ochevet et Yaakov, vayazed Yaakov nazid, vayavo Esav, min hasadeh v'chu ayef, vayomer Esav el Yaakov, haliteni na min ha'adom hazeh, Ki ayef anochi, al kain karashamo Edom, vayomer Yaakov, michrach hayom, et pochratecha li, vayomer Esav, hine, anochi cholech lamut, velamazeh, li b'chora, vayomer Yaakov, hishav ali chayom, vayishava lo, vayimkor et b'chorato li'Yaakov, v'Yaakov natan le'Esav, lechem unazid adashim, vayochal vayesh, vayakom vayela, vayivez Esav et chavachorah.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher notan lanu Torah emet v'chaya lanu et achzocheinu. Baruch Adonai notein ha'Torah.
Amen. Good job. We're just waiting for a moment, just as the microphone gets handed over. And then I'll have the pleasure of calling Lucas to Torah. Lila's just, you can't see it at home, but Lila's just doing it herself to make sure he's all right. Yamod Yaakov ben Reuben Shlomo v'Kel Rachel bar mitzvah dashan uval koreh lidrosh v'lekor et haTorah.
My Torah portion continues the story of Isaac and his wife Rebekah. There is a great famine in the land, and Isaac goes to stay with Abimelech, king of the Philistines in Gerar. In Gerar, he tells everyone that his wife, Rebekah, is his sister because he fears that the men of this place might kill him on account of Rebekah's, because she is beautiful. One day, Abimelech sees Isaac cuddling Rebekah and questions him on his lie. Isaac answers truthfully that he thought he would be killed on account of her beauty. Abimelech challenges him, but absolves Isaac of his lie and orders all the people in his land to keep Isaac safe. I found a few aspects of this Torah portion quite tricky to understand. Is it saying that the value of women is in their beauty? I am growing up in a house with 4 strong females, so I know that the value of a woman is not this superficial. Another problem, is it saying that it is okay to lie? But we are taught from a very early age that it is not okay to lie, that you must always tell the truth. Isaac lies feels like it is very understandable. We might all be guilty of lying if we want to protect the people we love. If I don't like what my sister is wearing, I don't tell her the truth because I don't want to hurt her feelings. If I see a wounded animal and my little sister Cookie asks me if it will be okay, I tell her it will be to protect her feelings, even if I think it won't. Perhaps lying for the right reasons sometimes makes it okay. I'm sure my great-grandfather told a few fibs on his dangerous journey to get this Sefer Torah out of Nazi Germany all those years ago. And for that, we are able to stand here and read from it as our ancestors did, thanks to him. I think that Isaac's lie is understandable, but the reason he lies is the problem. He lies because he makes assumptions about the people of Gerar and how they will treat him and Rebekah. This portion reminds us that we should not make assumptions about what other people are thinking and how they might behave. Baruch et Adonai HaMavorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMavorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'habanu mikol ha'amim v'nata lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayehi ra'av ba'aretz milvat hara'av harishon asher haya abimei Avraham. Vayele Yitzhak el Avimelech melech Pelishtim Gerar. Vayera Eliv Adonai Vayomer al Terein Mitzrayim Shahon ba'aretz Asher Omar Elecha Gu ba'aretz hazot V'yeh imha v'avrehecha ki lecha uzracha attain et kol haratzot ha'el v'hakimoti et hashavua asher nishbati la'avraham avicha v'hibeiti et zaracha kohochvei hashamayim V'netati lezaraha et kol haratzot ha'el. V'hibarechu v'zaraha kol goyei ha'aretz. Eikev asher shema Avraham bukoli. V'yishmo mishmati mitzvotai hukotai v'toratai. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah tamet v'hayei olam nata b'tohenu Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Of course, the thing that makes Bar and Bat Mitzvah powerful, meaningful, is that young people are not only reading Torah for their family and friends, but also in the heart of their community, on behalf of their community. So I'm delighted to be able to call Rick to Torah, who is going to say the blessings for the second section of Lucas's portion. He's not actually going to be able to stand with you. He's just going to come and stand at the little lectern just in front, but we'll be able to do the blessings. And LJ, you are going to be reading Torah on behalf of Rick as he marks the outsides. Yamod Yerucham Chaim ben David Lakrat Torah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'abim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayeshev Yitzhak Bigra Vayeshalu Anashe Hamakum Lishtu Vayomer Ahotihi Ki Yarei Lemor Ishti Penyahaguni Anashe Hamakum Al Rivka Ki Tovat Marehi Vayehi Ki Arholo Sham Hayamim Vayesh Kef Avi Melech Pelishtim Ba'ata Halon Vaya Vehine Yitzhak Mitzahek Eit Rivka Ishto Vaikra Avimelech Leitzhak Vayomer Achine Yishtahahi Va'ech Amata Ahotihi Vayomer Eloi Yitzhak Ki Amati Pen Amut Elecha Vayomer Avimelech Mazot Asita Lanu Kim at shahav ahata'am et ishteha v'hiveta aleinu asham v'tzav Avimelech et kol ha'am leimor hanugea ba'ish hazeh uvishto mot yumat v'yizra Yitzhak ba'aretz hahi v'yimsa b'shana hahi me'yosharim v'yavarechehu Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nota b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yishkoch. Well done, buddy. So I'm going to invite Lucas is going to go down, and Kate and John and Sandra, and Richard has the delight of trying to lift the scroll for us and take it back to be dressed. Gabby and Cookie, you're up.
Please rise with us as we turn to page 241.
Al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. And please take your seats. Haftarah for this morning that you will find on the back of the yellow sheets that you have here and in the supplements at home. We're taking our Haftarah from Malachi, the beginning of the book of Malachi. And Jacob and Esau, these twins, become representative of Jacob of Israel and Esau of Edom, those other nations that Israel is in tension with. And Malachi stresses God's choice of Jacob and questions people Israel on why they don't recognize the special relationship that they have with God, while so many of the other nations seem to be behaving themselves.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha b'nvi'im tovim, v'ratza b'divreihem ha'ne'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'invi'ei ha'emet b'tzedek.
Amen.
A pronouncement. The word of the Eternal to Israel through Malachi. I have loved you, said the Eternal. You ask, how have you shown love for us? Is not Esau Jacob's brother, declares the Eternal? Yet I have accepted Jacob and not Esau, making his hills a desolation, his territory a home for beasts of the desert. If Edom thinks, though crushed, we can build the ruins again, then the Eternal of hosts would say, they may build, but I can tear down. And so they shall be known as a region of wickedness, a people rejected forever by the Eternal. Your eyes shall see this, and you shall declare, great is the Eternal beyond the borders of Israel. Children should honor their parents, servants their masters. Now, if I am a parent to you, where is the honor owed to me? And if I am a master, where is the reverence owed to me, says the God of the hosts of heaven to you, the priests who scorn my name? You ask, how have we scorned your name? You offer defiled food on my altar. You ask, how have we defiled you? By saying the table of the Eternal can be despised. When you present animals that are not fit for sacrifice, to you it does not matter. When you present one that is unwell, to you it does not matter. Try offering this to your governor. Will he accept you? Will he show you favor, said the God of hosts? But now you entreat God to show you favor. Will God be gracious to us? This is what you have done. Will God accept any of you? The God of hosts has said, if only you would close my doors and not kindle fire on my altar to no purpose. I take no pleasure in you, said the God of hosts, and I will accept no offering from you. For from the rising of the sun to its setting, my name is great among the nations, and everywhere incense and pure sacrifices are offered to my name. For my name is honored among the nations, said the God of hosts. Al haTorah v'al ha'avodah v'al hanvi'im v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha l'chafod u'tifaret. Al ha'kol Adonai Eloheinu nachnu modim lach u'mvarachim otach. Yitbarach shimcha b'fi kolchai tamid la'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Makadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
We are going to turn together to page 246. We invite you to rise as we turn to our prayers for the community. Robert is going to lead us.
Our God, whose dominion is everlasting, we ask you to bless our Sovereign Lady, Queen Elizabeth, and to guide the government of this country. Help us to be good citizens, working together for justice and peace at home and abroad. Bless this holy community and all holy communities, and support the life and work of all who labour for their welfare. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessing on the state of Israel and all who live there. Give wisdom and understanding to its leaders and friendship and compassion to the people, so that there may be lasting peace on its borders and in its homes. Soon may your promise be fulfilled, for Torah shall come out of Zion and the word of God from Jerusalem. We ask you to listen to our prayers and look kindly, supporting those who are troubled, consoling the bereaved, sending relief to those in pain or anxiety. As you blessed our fathers Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, and our mothers Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel and Leah, bless our congregation, all congregations gathered in prayer, and everyone who responds to the need of a community. May such be the divine will, and let us say Amen.
Amen. Yes.
So normally at this point we would pass the Torah scroll to our young unmuted. Sorry, thank you, Sam. There is now a special signal that we have, which means that Rabbi forgot to turn his microphone back on. So normally at this point I would invite Lila and Lucas onto Bima, and we would pass the scroll to them. I don't think we're going to be doing that. The scroll is bigger than they are, apart from anything else, this amazing family scroll. But I am going to invite Kate and Lila and Lucas to come back onto the Bima. I'm going to invite you, please, to take your seats, if you wish. And we're going to have a different kind of a moment here. A different kind of a moment where Richard is going to kind of rest the scroll onto the desk so he can hold it. And I think what we're going to have is, rather than the symbolism of Torah being passed to our young people, which we would normally do, the symbolism of a family together united in Torah, as first Lila and then Lucas read the special passage, the special prayer that they've written for this moment to express their feelings about becoming bar and bat mitzvah.
I am proud to be Jewish because it is part of my history and the history of my family. Our story makes up who we are. It influences us in loads of different ways. It's amazing to know that previous generations celebrated it in the same way we are doing right now. My mother converted to Judaism, so she brings an open-minded and different perspective of the religion, which I value. I'm having my bat mitzvah because I want to read from the Sefer Torah that my great-grandfather Kurt rescued from a burning synagogue and smuggled out of Nazi Germany in a suitcase. Having a bat mitzvah might not change my life in a huge way, but once I become a Jewish adult, I can support others on their journey by being a mentor at Aleph. We want to thank our parents and grandparents for all their support and love. We are so lucky to be part of such a loving family.
Being Jewish is part of what defines me, and I am proud of it. The Torah that our great-grandfather smuggled out of Nazi Germany is the same Torah we read from today. I'm proud to be part of this legacy. This represents us going into adulthood, doing a brave thing, speaking in front of everyone. My older sister told us that this experience will connect us so much more to our religion, and she is right. I like the idea of being more aware in general of the world around me. This is not just about the big party, but the great experience we've had. For most of this journey, we were not able to be at synagogue and learn with new friends. It has been tough at times, but it has been fun in its own way. May I grow up to keep working hard, be kinder, and to listen more, learning from others around me.
Amen. Yeshikar to both of you. It is an extraordinary privilege to be with you as you together read Torah from this family Torah scroll with its extraordinary history. You didn't get the chance to hold it, but we are going to ask you, Lila and Lucas, to open the ark for us as we put it back, and I invite everyone, please, to rise. We're turning to page 256.
Uvenu Choyoma, Shuva Adonai Rivavot Alpei Israel, Kuma Adonai Limnuchatecha, Atava Aron Uzacha, Kohanecha Yilbashu Sadak, V'chasidecha Yiranenu, Ba'avur David Abdecha, Al Tashev Pnei Meshichecha, Ki lechach tov natati lachem, Torati al ta'azovu. Et
Hayim hi lama chazikim ba v'tomacheha neyusha daracheha dachenoam b'chol netzivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem. You guys are going to come here? Please take your seats. Perfect. Lila Lucas, with your permission, I'd like to speak to you together. I want you to know that this is not because I don't recognize you as individuals. I absolutely value that you are different people, that you have your own character, you have different interests. As Lila said in her Devar Torah, you have your own strengths and weaknesses, and that each of you brought your own personality to the challenge of Bat and Bar Mitzvah. But at the same time, I think one of the things that is really clear is one of the things that makes you both who you are, one of the things that makes you especially special is each other. That you've been able to go through this journey to Bar and Bat Mitzvah and do it together. You've had your own mini Ruach class, someone else to be with and play with, someone else to make paper aeroplanes, don't think we didn't notice, make paper aeroplanes with, even at a time when you haven't been able to be with other people. So the first thing I want to say to you is, for both of you, Mazel Tov, because you have both risen to the challenge of Bar and Bat Mitzvah. And I'm sure that in part that has been because you've spurred one another on and supported each other. So I want to share two things with you this morning. Two things, one coming out of each of the passages of Torah that you read. The first is from the portion that Lila, you read for us. In your section, the Torah presents a world in which twins, in fact, in which siblings in general, are in tension with each other. Jacob and Esau struggle from the womb, as you read, and then they are in conflict through their lives, and then, as we saw in our Haftarah, they become the model for nations in conflict. But what you two present to us is that this doesn't need to be the case, that there is no such thing as determined conflict. Of course, all siblings will infuriate each other once in a while. But you are also good and kind to each other, as I know you also are with Gabby and with Cookie as well. So one of my hopes for you is that you will continue to be this model, that the world doesn't have to be a model of conflict. That as you grow, you will always have that love and care for each other, a love and care which you probably take for granted, but is actually very special. My other big hope for you relates to something, Lucas, in your portion.
In fact, it's the very last line of your portion. There you read, Isaac sowed in that land and reaped 100-fold. Now the rabbis ask, can it possibly be true that Isaac sowed in the land and in that same year reaped 100-fold? And one of the answers they give us is that we're not supposed to read this as literal sowing. Rather, it's about making an impact on the world. So what Isaac did was to sow goodness into the world. And in doing so, that goodness was amplified 100-fold. You both have a great deal of good in you. You have a great deal of kindness and thoughtfulness, as well as the joy and the fun and the care that we can see in you whenever we interact with you. Your task is to sow that joy, to sow it into the world so that it is amplified and comes back to you and to all of us 100-fold, sharing it with others beyond yourselves. You have an incredibly special relationship. The gift of that relationship is going to be to share it beyond yourselves, to be good and kind and fun and warm with each other, but also with the whole world. So a special blessing for you at this moment of transition in your lives. Mishaberach Avotenu ve'imotenu. May the one who is a source of blessing for our ancestors be a source of blessing for Lila and for Lucas, who have read Torah for the very first time for their family, friends, and community. In their lives ahead, may they always stay full of fun and of joy, kindness and thoughtfulness. May they always have the gift of liking each other, at least most of the time. May they continue to be united by the special bond that they have, and nothing at all like Jacob and Esau. May they bring the very best of them into the world around them and into their Jewish life, sowing as Isaac did, so that they may reap 100-fold. And thus may they be a source of blessing to their family, to the family of Israel, and to the family of humankind. And let us say, Amen. So I'm going to invite you please to rise. And together we are going to say a Shechianu to mark this moment in Lila and LJ's life. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
So Lyle and Lucas, we're also going to give the people who are joining us from home the ability to wish you Mazel tov. So you now have the ability, if you're at home, to just unmute yourselves quickly to wish these amazing kids Mazel tov from home.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov. You're wonderful.
Wonderful.
Lila and Lucas, wonderful.
Absolutely
Mazel
wonderful.
tov.
And please.
Wonderful piece. Wonderful piece.
Wonderful. Any parent would like that from their children.
And please take your seats.
The shape of power is always the same. It is the shape of a tree. Root to tip, central trunk branching and rebranching, spreading wider in ever thinner searching fingers. This same shape grows within us, our inward tree of nerves and blood vessels, the central trunk, the pathways dividing and redividing. The image of power as a tree from Naomi Alderman's book of the same name feels especially important this week, following COP26, as we have been made so aware of the power of trees to save us. Their canopy reaches outwards, providing us not only with a natural air filter, but also offering important shelter and maintaining wildlife habitats. Though we may be far away from a tree, we will continue to feel its effects. But trees are also an image of fragility. We have the power to destroy them, to manipulate them for our own selfish needs. Many of us have been following the updates of COP26 this week, the United Nations 26th Conference of Parties on Climate Change. 200 countries are represented in the summit, taking place in Glasgow, during which they pledged to cut emissions by 2030. This follows the warmest decade on record, with the effects of climate change already being seen worldwide. We know that urgent change is needed if we want to make this world a better place for future generations. COP26 hold countries accountable for their actions. The power to affect climate change is there. So far, they have pledged trillions of dollars of private capital to be moved towards supporting clean technology, to cut methane emissions by 30% in the next 10 years, to reverse deforestation in more than 100 countries, and to shift away from coal use in 40. The UK has acknowledged its part in many ways, including pledging that large firms will be asked to show how they intend to hit climate change targets, submitting their plans to an expert panel. Perhaps within this, we feel as if our actions are inconsequential, that our efforts will not make a difference in the scheme of global action. But like a tree, the power of COP26 spreads through its branches, reaching further out towards us. As we heard read by Judd earlier, the words of Rabbi Dr. Charles Middleborough, unlike the rest of animal kingdom, we alone have the ability to save it or to do it irreparable damage. The Conference of Parties has always been a consensus project, not only for countries and institutions, but also for us. It holds us all accountable. We must all consent to play our parts. It acknowledges that for the subject of climate change, we all hold the power and the fragility of the planet in our hands. Which is why yesterday, day 6 of the summit, turned its focus towards youth and public engagement, knowing that it is crucial that we become part of the efforts to slow down climate change. So although we feel small, although our carbon footprint does not include us chartering a private jet between places for dinner plans, our actions still make an impact. It is still up to us to play our part in the repairing of our world. This week we heard of the potential of 2 blessings given to Jacob and to Esau by Isaac from his deathbed. Both of these blessings that we would read later in our parashah seem fiercely relevant to us this week with their environmental themes. Jacob and Esau are promised that they shall enjoy the fat of the earth and dew of the heaven above. Both Jacob and Esau will benefit from the abundance and fertility of the earth. They and their descendants will be provided for. And it is a blessing they need, following the famine that they have just survived and the one that will be shortly upon them. Although Jacob and Esau's blessings contain similar themes, there is a difference which makes the first blessing ultimately given to Jacob that sought-after blessing. The difference is seen in the invocation of the divine name, as in Jacob's blessing we read, "May God give you the fat of the earth and the dew of heaven above." In Jacob's blessing, we are reminded that God gave us the world as it is. His blessing reminds us of the midrash that we read last night during Kabbalat Shabbat, following the creation of the first human. The midrash teaches us God took them and led them around the trees of the Garden of Eden. God said, "Look at my works, how beautiful and praiseworthy they are. And all that I have created, it was for you. Pay attention that you do not destroy it. For if you do, there is no one after you to repair it." Our world is a gift, one that we received and one that we can give to the generations that come long after us. Yes, our world is in a cycle of natural climate change. Ice caps have thawed before. Yes, one day again things will change and we will be heading back towards a time of freezing. But it is true that we are accelerating matters to a point beyond repair, and that we have a responsibility to act now so that we can enjoy the blessings of our world, the fat of the earth, and the dew of heaven above. We may not hold that power concentrated in the trunk of a tree, but we are at the tip of the branches. We are partners in the repairing of our world, and there are tangible things we can do to help, such as cutting down our consumption of red meat and thinking before we buy. And there are ways that we can make a difference in the life of this community here at Aleph. This Shabbat is Eco Shabbat, a Shabbat dedicated to engaging in this crucial topic. Marked across 4 denominations of Judaism, it presents us with an opportunity to show our support for the COP26 conference and to recommit ourselves to making small shifts within our communities that will help make a difference in the world. Despite the urgency of the crisis and our wish to do all that we can to help, we must also recognize that there are challenges, especially in this time of pandemic. We need to make compromises, prioritizing our health with the use of masks, with individually wrapped kiddush, with the use of cars when public transport feels threatening to pikuach nefesh, and the need for ventilation, for opening our windows and heating our rooms. But as a community, we pledge to work together with a team of people to embed more environmentally friendly practices in our synagogue lives, while still looking out for the safety and experience of each individual. If you wish to be part of this group moving forward, please feel free to contact myself or Rabbi Elliott. We each hold the power to make a difference. Like the branches of a tree, our efforts will spread from us into the world. May we commit to making small shifts individually, being a dogma, an example to those around us. May we commit to more environmentally friendly practices as a community, so that our young people can grow up knowing that we tried. And may we commit to acting now, so that we can make the world a better place for future generations. Amen. I invite you to rise with me as we turn to page 310 and conclude our service with the words of the Aleinu. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol,
la'teged la'yotze bereshit, asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim mimal, u'shchinatu zo, b'govhei meromim, Hu Eloheinu ein od, emet malkeinu Sulato, kakatu betorato, viadata hayom, v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim, b'shamayim mimah, v'al haaretz, mitachat einod.
And on page 313, Al kain nekavelecha Adonai Eloheinu, lirot meheira b'tiferet uzecha, l'ha'avir gelulim min haaretz, l'ha'lilim karot yekreitun, l'taken olam b'malchut shaddai, v'chol b'nei v'asai yikru v'ishmecha,
Lafnot elecha korishe aretz. Yakiru v'yeda'u kol yoshvei tevel. Ki shutafim kulanu b'tikkun olamecha. Ki hamalchut shelcha hi. Ul'ol me'ad timloch b'chavod. Kakatu b'toratecha. Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. V'haya Adonai le'melecha kol ha'aretz. Bayom ha'hu, yeh Adonai echad. U'shamo We turn together to page 316 and prepare to sanctify the name of God with the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. On this Shabbat, we regret to announce the death of Mike Grabiner, the husband of Jane, father of David, James, Ben, and Sophie, the brother of Susan Goldsmith, of Stephen, and of Robert Grabiner. Mike is a former chair of governors of the JCOS. He's a former chair of the Movement for Reform Judaism, was instrumental in the Jewish Leadership Council and the World Union for Progressive Judaism. One of the things that happens when someone who's shaped our world dies is that we should recognize their achievements and the debt that we owe them. So as a community, we mourn Mike's death together. We join too with all of those in the Shloshim and the Shana, the period since the loss of a loved one. And as a community, we mark the Yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of Irene Edelman, Bernard Barnett, Nina Beckman, Joseph Bell, Victor Benjamin, Harry Bernstein, Gala Breyer, Michael Breyer-Lorimer, Lilius Brody, Lionel Daiches, Maya Davis-Osa, Lorraine Edelstein, Sidney Epstein, Anne Field, Morris Francis, Harry Friedman, Vera Gale, Lou Gold, Phoebe Gould, Arnold Gould, Davis Grossman, Tessie Haller, Inga Hertzberg-Tweed, David Joseph, Rosa Kay, Bessie Lantin, Leslie Lucas, Kitty Mellows, Michelle Meltzer, Maureen Mendelsohn, Rolf Newgarten, Gerald Parnes, Lewis Phillips, Flora Price, Sue Sharp, Ulrich Scaller, Alfred Spector, Malcolm Stanton, Gordon Weiner, Sidonie Weiner-Laber, Erica White, Morris Weingarten, David Windsor, and Hal Zamet. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. In loving memory, we invite all those who come to this Shabbat in mourning to join with me in leading the community in the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ba'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala u'vizman kariv ve'imru. Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam al'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'a v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitada, v'yitalei, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudsha b'rechu, le'ela min kol bechata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, di'amiran ba'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, Val kol ha'olam ve'imru. Amen. And please take your seats.
So after a short break, our synagogue program begins again to come back to life over the course of the coming week, including all of our regular learning programs. I do just want to flag that our Chavruta project, in which over the course of the last year, 40 or 50 of our members have studied together in Chavruta, sometimes on Zoom, sometimes together, is relaunching this coming week. We're taking a big chunk of Talmud, so if you are interested in joining Chavruta, we can find you a study partner, or you can come with somebody, and you need to contact Rabbi Elliot, who's holding that program for us. Elliot is also running our Pardes text study program this month, which begins again on Thursday lunchtime. We will be back here on Friday night for our Friday night service, and then on Shabbat morning, we will have a number of different services next week. But one of the things that we're very excited about is that it will be the first Shabbat morning in which our choir come back to sing together since we've come out of the pandemic. So we are delighted that we're going to be welcoming them back next Shabbat morning. We are slowly increasing the number of people who are able to come back into this space, but we recognize that at the moment, the trends are not looking good. So we do ask that as you move around the building after the service finishes, you do make sure that when you're coming face to face with people in particular, you have your masks on. And that will apply as those who wish and feel comfortable doing so go through into our Leobeck Hall after the service for Kiddush. So what we are going to do after we've sung together Adon Olam is we are going to make Kiddush up here. Rabbi Hannah and I will make Kiddush so that we can make it together with those who are joining us from home. And then, as I say, those who wish are welcome to go through for a special COVID-secure Kiddush and refreshments, which are through in our Leobeck Hall. All of which should have given Rabbi Hannah time to work out which melody we're going to sing for Adon Olam on page 320.
Ready? Adon Olam, Hashem Alav, B'terem kol Yetzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, Kechem Sokol, Azah Eleh Shemo. Nikra Biachare Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Oveh V'hu Tzifara V'hu Echad V'ein Sheni L'hamshir Lo L'havira V'lireishit V'litachlit V'lo Mizrah, V'hu Eli, V'chai Goali, V'tzochem li, B'yom Tzara, V'hu Nisi, U'manusi, Manat Kosi, Bayom Ekra Beyado Avgid Ruchi Beitisha Veyaira Beim Ruchi Gaviati Adonai li velo ira. So as I
As I say, we're going to make Kiddush together here, and then you're welcome if you wish to go next door where there's wine and refreshments. But please do rise with us. We're going to turn to page 454 to make Kiddush together with those who are joining us from home.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. זכור את יום השבת לקדשו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. Amen.
And for those at home who have bread, and also because there's food next door, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
And before you move, we have two more things to do. One is to just once again wish Lila and Lucas Mazel Tov, and the other one is just to look up into that camera and just wish the people at home Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. And if you're at home, we're going to give you the opportunity to unmute yourselves and chat with one another. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom and Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.